let's talk about your career in 2026. Because in the world of AI, the skills that made you a star, just last year, they might not even get you in the door tomorrow. The ground is shifting that fast. So, we're going to map out how to stay ahead of the curve.
So, let's just start with a kind of uncomfortable question, right? Are the AI skills you just spent all that time mastering already obsolete? Honestly, the answer is a little unsettling. The pace of change is just accelerating like crazy, and we have to adapt, like right now.
And here's the new reality. Basic prompt engineering, knowing your way around a chatbot, that stuff made you an innovator back in 2023. But by 2026, that's just table stakes. It's the new minimum requirement, not a strategic advantage. This means we need a completely new way of thinking about our skills.
So what is that new approach? Well, it starts by understanding this massive shift that's happening. We're leaving the era where AI was a cool novelty and entering one where it's an absolute industrial necessity. So welcome to the agentic era.
This really breaks down the evolution perfectly. The generative era, that was all about these single-shot interactions. You ask a question, you get an answer. The key skill there was prompting. But the agentic era, it's a whole different ballgame. We're now building autonomous systems that can handle complex, multi-step tasks. And the key skill isn't prompting anymore, it's orchestration.
So what in the world is agentic AI? It's not just a passive chatbot waiting for you to ask it something. No, we're talking about autonomous systems that can actually do things. They can plan, they can reflect on their own work, they can use other software tools, and they can execute these really complex tasks to achieve a high-level goal you set, all without you having to micromanage every single step.
And listen, this isn't some sci-fi future. According to McKinsey, 62% of organizations are already experimenting with AI agents. This is the core mindset shift right here. We are moving from AI as a co-pilot that you constantly have to guide to an AI co-worker that can actually operate on its own. The money tells the exact same story. By 2026, it's predicted that 2/3 of all AI computing power is going to be used for inference. And that's just a fancy word for the actual running of these models out in the real world to do productive tasks, not just training them. This is a huge signal of a mature industry that's building out the infrastructure to deploy AI at a massive scale.
But, and this is a big but, here's the reality check. Forrester predicts the companies might actually pull back a quarter of their planned AI spending. Why? Because they're not seeing a real return on their investment. The whole era of vibes-based evaluation, where you adopt a tool just because it feels smart or it's cool, that's officially over. Tangible value is the only thing that matters now.
Okay, so if tangible value is the goal, how do you learn what actually works? That brings us to our next critical skill: finding the signal in a world that is just absolutely drowning in noise.
Think about this for a second. Some estimates are saying that pretty soon, 90% of all content online will be AI-generated. This is flooding the internet with what people are calling slop. Content that looks real, but it's shallow, or it's misleading, or it's just plain wrong. Your most important skill then becomes information hygiene. You have to build a powerful filter.
So here's the practical toolkit for that filter. You've got to ask these questions. Does the source actually link to the real research paper or the GitHub code? Are they citing legitimate, difficult benchmarks, or are they just showing you a slick, cherry-picked demo video? Is the code open source, or is it hidden behind some waitlist-only wall? And maybe the most important question, do they talk honestly about the trade-offs and limitations? If the answer is no, you're probably just looking at noise.
Look, trying to drink from this information fire hose is just a recipe for burnout. So you have to be strategic. First, adopt just-in-time learning. Only go deep on a tool when you actually need it for a project. Second, follow the 80-20 rule. Spend 80% of your time on the solid foundations and only 20% chasing the shiny new thing of the week. And finally, use AI to fight AI. Build a simple agent to filter and summarize information for you.
Okay, now that we know how to filter all that information, let's get focused on what to actually learn. Here's a clear, strategic learning path. I've broken it down into 3 levels that'll take you from the basics all the way to becoming a true AI architect.
Level 1 is the foundation, and it's for everyone. I don't care what your technical background is. The goal here is real literacy. That means mastering more structured prompting like chain of thought, really understanding the difference between key concepts like RAG versus fine-tuning, and using no-code tools to start automating parts of your own job.
All right, now we build on that foundation with level 2. This is for the builders, the engineers. Python proficiency here, it's just non-negotiable.
The main thing to focus on is mastering RAG, which is the key architecture for using AI with your own private data. And crucially, you'll start implementing basic evaluation to prove that the thing you built actually, works.
And finally, level 3, the architect. This is where you master agentic design patterns. Stuff like getting an agent to critique its own work, you'll get really deep into orchestration frameworks, you'll learn to fine-tune smaller, more efficient models, and you'll implement advanced evaluation, like using one AI to judge the output of another. This is where you go from just building apps to designing entire intelligent systems. Now, to climb those levels, you're going to need the right tools. The good news is the AI stack has really started to solidify, so let's look at the essential toolkit you'll need to put together for 2026. For orchestration, you're probably going to keep hearing about these 3 frameworks. LangGraph is your go-to for serious production-grade systems that need maximum control. Crew AI is fantastic for rapid prototyping. It lets you assign roles to agents just like they're a human team. And Microsoft's AutoGen is really powerful for more open-ended research. A pretty common path is to start with Crew AI to learn the concepts, then graduate to LangGraph when you're ready for serious production-level work. So if you put it all together, your 2026 tech stack should have these key pieces. For coding, you'll want an AI-native editor like Cursor. For local development, Allama is amazing. It lets you run models right on your own machine, which saves money and protects your privacy. When you need the big guns, you'll tap into NeoClouds for that heavy-duty GPU access. And to share your work with the world, Hugging Face Spaces is pretty much the industry standard.
All right, that's enough theory. Let's make this totally concrete. Here's your first quest, a 90-day action plan that will transform you from a passive learner into an active builder with a real project you can actually show off.
So your quest starts in the first 30 days. You're going to nail the fundamentals by building a simple summarizer. The next month, you'll level up by building a real RAG chatbot and a basic multi-agent system. Then, in the final 30 days, you'll add solid evaluation and, this part is key, you'll write a blog post to showcase what you've built. That final step is what turns a side project into a real career asset.
So let's wrap all this up. Here are the 5 key takeaways for 2026. 1. Think agents, not chatbots. Your focus needs to be on orchestration. 2. Evaluation is king. If you can't measure it, it's just a toy. 3. Find your community. The real learning is happening on Discord and GitHub. 4. Be absolutely ruthless about filtering out the noise. And 5, and this is the most important one, build things. It is the only way to truly learn this stuff.
I'll leave you with this one final thought. The future workforce is probably going to be divided into 2 groups, those who manage the AI agents and those who are managed by them. The path to making sure you're in that first group? Well, it starts right now. The only question is, which one will you choose to be?